Sure. Matter of fact, I'll even read off the stuff I typed. It's the Orangetown Police Department in Orangetown, New York.
Okay.
Those are the major culprits.
Okay. And tell me what they've done that's caused you a problem.
Okay. Basically, let me give you my background with this, because this goes with everything here. Let me read this off to you here. This is my background. My name is Valdo K. Vaher. I'm the eldest son of Miss Krumhild M. Vaher and Jan Vaher. My mother came to this country after going through the horror of war and dictatorship in Germany. My father came here as a refugee fleeing communist oppression and persecution from Soviet-occupied Estonia. My father was persecuted, and his father as well. They lost their home, and he lost his country, and came to this country for freedoms such as the Fourth Amendment, where law and rights are supposed to be respected. In 1986, in 1986, I joined the U.S. Army as a military police officer, served many years honorably. In 1995, I was asked to go back to my father's country and assist in nation building, to build their military law enforcement, military police, which I did. I got letters of commendation from the U.S. military attachés. After 3 years, I came back to America to take care of my ailing mom and pursue a civilian law enforcement career. At the same time, I joined the National Guard, and when I got into the National Guard, I showed them the records of what I had done overseas, and the first sergeant in the unit did not like that. He started asking me personal questions, and I wouldn't answer, and he got real nasty. Well, this first sergeant did some more things to me there at the National Guard. One time, I wanted to take some stuff home that they were throwing out, and he said to me, he made a comment, "I don't want to have to come to your house to see what you have." Another time at Fort Dix, we had a deranged soldier who almost shot myself and others at the zero range and had to be disarmed, and he said, "Just give the guy back the weapon and let him shoot," and the company commander had to overrule him. Well, so after we got mobilized for the war, the unit, I got injured, and my mom came down with cancer, so they left me at Fort Dix, and they got real upset at me, and they said, "Well, we're going to use this guy who used to be the first sergeant and his buddies who are in law enforcement, because we know you have a pistol license, to harass you, take your property away, your guns away, and give you a hard time." That was told to me by one of our sergeants. Shortly thereafter, I was discharged from the active duty, and in 2007, I was on active duty at Fort Dix again. And when I was there, my mom locked herself out of the house, and this occurred in. Let me see, I got the dates here. Let me see here, I got the dates, and basically what occurred was on March 7th of 2007, my mom locked herself out of the house, had to go to a neighbor. They called the local police. The neighbor said the local police were very disrespectful to my mother. She couldn't walk anymore, really, because she had the cancer went to her legs and bones. The locksmith was called to open up the door, and when the locksmith opened the garage door up, my mom went trespassed. He started snooping through. He saw I had some old military rifles, which I had a federal collector's license to have, and he started snooping through there. The next day, 2 detectives came from the Orangetown Police Department, and one of them was that first sergeant who did not like me from the military police company. And he pressured and intimidated my mother in a thuggish way to let him in the house without a warrant to look at my firearms. And my mom was extremely scared. She's an 80-year-old woman, doesn't know what to do, is afraid, so she lets them in the house and tells them, "Look, my son is a police officer. He's in the military police. He has licenses for all this. Well, why are you bothering us?" But the woman is scared to death. I call her up that night, and I get the phone number for this clown who used to be the first sergeant of my unit, and I tell him, I said, "What do you think you're doing in my home?" And he starts telling me, well, he wants to come back in my home and see my property. And I said, "You have no right to come and bother us. You know I'm a police officer. I have licenses for everything. And when I get back from there, I'll come in and show you all my ID." and I agreed to do that. On several weeks later, on March 19th, I went in and I showed him everything, and then he even made a further comment that we'll call you if we want to, and I told him, no, this ends it now, otherwise there's going to be legal repercussions for you. On March 26th, 2007, several police cars pulled up to my home. With this Orangetown police detective were members of the Rockland County Sheriff's Department and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and served me with a search warrant. They tore my house to pieces. I was threatened and menaced in my home by an officer who pulled out his weapon halfway out of the holster. My mother and I were threatened to be hand-grenaded high-capacity magazines, which I'm allowed to own and are legal. Ammunition, the same. I was not arrested, but my property was taken. I was never given it back. From that time on, I noticed, too, that he went back to the unit, this guy, and was bragging what he did to my mom and me. One sergeant said that, he's saying what he did, and that he, by the way, he notified Homeland Security, and he says because I was in a foreign military,
This is Mr. Kamal.
I'm a threat and an assassin and a spy, and
How are you doing? I'm still on the line with another client, sir. I'll be calling you back in about 15 minutes, okay?
I contacted the United States.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Disturbed my frail, poor mother. She passed away in February 23rd of 2008. In the following year, my relatives came from Estonia that had never been here with small children. And building. They put wiring in the house that was a hazard and illegal. And when a friend came who's a plumber saw that, he said, this is illegal, it can burn your house down, and they need to be arrested for this. I confronted the father, and I told him that he needs to fix the matter that morning. And they got thuggish and threatening to me. The son picked up a 5-foot-plus long oak level and started to charge me with it. I already had called 911 and had a camera out monitoring his behavior. Once he picked up the level and swung at my head, I pulled my revolver on him and I ordered him to halt. His aggression halted. He did it again. I went to the low gun ready, and he did it again. This time he picked up a tile cutter made out of steel that was about 2 or 3 feet long and tried to crush my head again, and I pulled a weapon. I had to call the police again. They didn't respond. When they responded, they didn't even check on me and my relatives. They went right to the perps. This is the same police department. They interviewed them. They came upstairs. Police officer, I believe his name was Sullivan, badge number 161. He came upstairs, and right away he told me that I have to meet force with force and that he's going to charge me with menacing. And unless I pay the contractors what they want, he will arrest me. He repeated that. He said, I will lose my job as a federal police officer in my home unless I pay them $7,000, what they want. My friend, the plumber, showed up with the building inspector, and they witnessed, and they are willing to testify in a court of law. They witnessed this police officer threaten me and extort me of money.
So let me stop you there for a second. The police officer, and this was the same police department, the Orange Police Department?
Yes.
Okay. And he was taking sides in a civil matter, telling you had to pay or else?
That's right. He threatened me with arrest several times, and in front of witnesses. The plumber and the building inspector both witnessed him threaten to arrest me unless I pay the contractors $7,000, what they want, and that I will lose my job as a federal cop in my home. This was blatantly extortion, and it was witnessed by the building inspector. I had no backing, and I was under duress, and sadly I paid them, and they wrote a police report up, and they faxed it to my agency. It made me look like I was a disturbed nut. They took my badge and my credentials, my gun, and my duty weapon. They put me through incredible psychological testing, which I passed everything. And I got evidence against them. I got other people in the town that were abused by the police. Businessmen wrote letters for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I explained to the psychiatrist what's going on. But that's basically it. And afterwards, they came by my house.